Earlier this week, Amy had a stomach flu. She threw up all day. Went to the barn, felt fine. Around 10 o'clock, she felt sick. Threw up for the entire day virtually, and then the next day was fine. It was the weirdest thing. Obviously, you thinking probably the same thing I would be thinking. Must have ate something, right? Nobody else in the family's sick. I get home from Scioto at 1:38 in the morning. All of us. We didn't stay over, and it was a bit of a screw up. Had we looked at Oliver's baseball calendar, we'd know that they weren't playing or practicing today. So we could have stayed over, which would have made things much easier. Well, I guess not in the long run. I wake up at 2:30, feel sick, and threw up the whole day. The whole day. I've been in bed all day. I wasn't going to come drive Simba, but I said, he's not a tricky horse to drive, but from the rail he might be. And, if Billy had been available where you could talk to him, fine. But I just felt I should go. So I took a couple of Tylenols, and I went and drove Simba. He raced good, third and 54 and 3. Probably trotted, 54 and 4, 55. Raced well. Now, rewind it to yesterday. We talked in the afternoon about... I don't think I was wrong when I qualified Ty One On. I said 56, 57. I think that's what she'll trot. 57 and 4 in the mud is pretty close. But when you're going into, and listen, I believe she was a morning line favorite. So I believe she was the favorite going to the gate too, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like she didn't belong. But 56 and 2 in the mud, you can only ask horses to go so fast, especially 2-year-olds. And it was just enough. It was just more than enough for her. 57 and 4, 29 and 4. Tired going under the wire. Not really what you want to see, but with the schedule we have, it'll work out fine. I went back and looked at her staking. Her next stake isn't until July 29th, which is great. Give her a week to relax and recoup. We scoped her. She was fine. A little bit of mucus, but nothing serious. We'll maybe school her a little bit quietly. Put her in to go in Pennsylvania the week before the 29th. Race her in the Arden, which is the 29th. Now, the Arden is open. It's an open stake. So you're going to get a mixed bag there, which is good for her. Good. Now, assuming that the race between the 20th and 22nd goes well. I think it's the 29th. I'm pretty sure it is. Assuming that race goes well, then on to the Arden. And then at that point, we'll know, are we heading to the Stallion Series? Are we heading to the Sire Stakes? Good news is she fits both. She should be able to win a Stallion Series and be competitive in a Sire Stake, but how competitive is what we're looking for. So that was Ty One On. She should have a fine summer. Obviously, I would be remiss if I didn't say that I was hoping for a big night. Didn't really know what to think, what would happen with Path of Totality. She can get a little hot. She's not the soundest filly. The 3 favorites land down 1, 2, 3 in front of me. I didn't want to go blast her into that turn. As you can see at the Meadows, she will once in a while make a break. I felt that we got a good trip, just didn't get out. When we did get out, we had tons of trot. I suspect same horses, same scenario. I come first over, and she's in the winner's circle next week. Then we get to Of Tom. I know she showed 29 and 4 crossing over to the front, but that's when she was like 1 to 5, and they were waiting for her. She doesn't really have that bust speed out of the gate. And it looks like she did. A couple of baby races, she came out good. She lumbers into the turn, and as we're getting out of there, you guys saw what happened. Break. I wanted to get away in behind the 1. Obviously, the 1's not letting anyone go. He's a runaway. The guy's straight back on her. Chris Lems has got me beat to the turn. He makes a break. Now, at that point, the 2 also has me beat to the turn. At that point, before they run, I'm thinking, they line up 1, 2. Chris has got a duck. If he keeps going, he's parked. 6 horse is going to have to find a spot. I can't really let him in. So either he trots out in front of me, or he gets in front of me fair and square, or he's out the whole way. Because I just don't see any love from the front end for him. Everything changes in a blink of an eye. 2 runs, 5 runs, 6 horse outside. Now, the 2 takes his time getting off the track. I want to go up in there. The 5 is right beside the 6, and the 6 can't get by him. I want to drop. Think of it this way. The entire complexity of that race changes if I can get down to the inside and drive up through the inside second. Instead, the 2 takes his time getting off the track. The 5 is kind of stuck. The horse is running pretty hard. The 6 can't get by him. He can't back it up. He's in a tough spot. I can't get down I can't get down to the inside of him. So finally, the 6 gets out in front of him. Now he's still on the run. He takes his time. I shouldn't say he takes his time. He didn't get out of the way quick enough. How's that? That may not be his fault, just the way the race shook down. He gets out of the way. Now I'm right up on top of him. I'm 5 lengths behind the horse in front of me. Now I'm in the 3-hole, 5 lengths back. Now it's obvious. 27.4 flashes up. There's no possible way this one horse can run this hot the whole way, and he's not slowing down. Like 29 seconds in the second quarter was all he could get out of it. Like all he could slow it down. I'm not really worried, right? The 2 was a factor. It's gone, right? I don't know where Kurt Sugg is. Maybe we're lucky and he run, right? I look over my shoulder. I'm pretty sure Ron Burke's filly's behind me, but I don't like Ron Burke's filly that much. So I'm thinking, take your time, move when you have to, attack. You know, Bob's your uncle. We're right there. And I did. I waited as long as I could, and even the 6 horse thought the 1 was done too, because he almost had me in the 3 wide path. But I know that story. I duck down to the inside, the 1 walks, Anthony never gets out. So I flip her out around him. And she didn't finish up as strong as she could, but she's tired. This is a big, lanky filly. If they go 29, 58, 127 and 2, 57 and 3, I'm right there. 27, 56 chasing speed just sucked the life right out of her. And she's done that training too, where we've wanted to go a little bit slower, maybe we went a little faster on a Saturday. I'm sure if you go back and look at her training videos, you'll see a video like this, where she ends up getting stretched out and just fizzles away. And I think that's just the composite of her body. That's just her body, right? She's a long, long filly that is 2. This is July, just barely July. So as much as I believe in a perfect world we could have been in the winner's circle, didn't work out exactly great. We obviously followed number 1, the number 1 rule of driving trotters, keep them trotting, and we get 5th. Could have been 2nd, could have won, could have been 3rd, 4th. We were 5th. A little disappointing. I can tell by the non-response from my partners. They must have known that I was down in the dumps a bit, but at the same time they were too. But that's racing. This filly is a sire stake filly, and as she continues to put that racing muscle on, we can use her in ways like that, but just not on July 2nd, 2021. So, it's over. 5th. Voyage of Ice and Fire. Warmed up good. I don't know how the race is going to go. Everybody inside me shows leaving. And I let him scoot out of there a little bit. I look left. I see Donnie. Now, Dawn is driving for Rosie Weaver. Rosie Weaver shipped one of her horses there. Very nice lady. Does an extremely good job training. Crushed us at the fairs last week. A good overall horse person. I'm looking at him. I'm looking at the way that she's shaping up. And I'm like, dude, there's no vacancy in there. So I have to take back. But I don't want to pull him over backwards. I can see that Kurt Sugg's not going to let me in front of him. But I can also see there's about to be a log jam. He's going to run up on top of the guy in front of him. Who knows what'll happen? Pretty sure I know it was going to happen, and it did. Made a break. It's not his fault, just the way racing is. I took his spot. Now, Voyage of Ice and Fire, he's only been in 58. We trained him in 58, qualified in 59. The 1 horse shows a qualifier in 56 last quarter in 28. How they made us morning line favorite, I don't know. The 1 is, from the program I can see, is 1-5. But, as trotters do from time to time, they all went up in smoke. He made a break. He ran. Another one ran. Another one ran. Another one ran. Now, a pessimistic person would say we were last of the horses that stayed trotting. But I'm not a pessimistic person. Horse did his work. Trotted him 58 apiece. 29 in the end of it. Did all he could. You know, we draw 4 next week, and I let him blast out of there, drop in the 2-hole. Maybe it's a different ball game. Now, you can easily say, hey, you're racing for 150. Yeah, but you got to get some of it. Poor Donnie that left out of the 8-hole, got burned up to the quarter, cleared over to the front, ended up making a break down the backstretch. Another one run, this one run, that one run. We get a 4th. You know, going down there hoping you're going to grab 1s and 2s, and so far you'd end up with a, you know, rewind to the start of the day. Rose above it should have jogged, finished 2nd. We had high hopes and picked a win with Taiwan on, a beaten 4th. White Tiger was 3rd. Then we went with Path of Totality, pinned in 5th. Now, I can tell you she's going to win next week. You do what you want with that. But I'm not coming, and I know Jason quietly biting his lip. He wanted me to come first over, you know, from a trainer's standpoint. And again, he gets to watch the race. Race is over. You can easily see if I come first over, I'm a winner. I can see that. We don't get that option, right? We haven't built time machines yet that I know of. I'm not coming first over Path of Totality. I'm just not. So, too bad. I fished her out. She finished 5th. Anybody watching the race can see what would have unfolded had I got room at any point in the last 3/8 of the mile. We'll get room next week. Run it back next week and I come first over. But I'm sorry, I just can't come first over with that mare in that class, going to a new track, new surface, coming first over with her in there. I don't know those horses. The horse on the front was the Ohio champion last year, shows 54. He's supposed to trot in 54. Path of Totality wants no part of 54 first over right now that I'm aware of. Maybe if I'm second over, third over. Okay, fine. First over? And keep in mind how rough she was in the last turn at Northfield, how rough she was at the Meadows. I don't want her rough in the last turn and getting sore, making breaks. So I'll take my lumps at the 5th. Of Tom got what she could. If somebody out there wants to say you should have driven this way or that way, I'm all ears. Because I think I drove her just about as good as you could. I couldn't get down to the rail. 2 wasn't off the track, and the 5 was in the 1.5 wide path. He can't shove that guy over, and that guy doesn't want him letting me up the inside either. So Chris Lem's in a tough spot. I end up 3rd, 5 lengths off. I said to my wife, I said, yeah. How's that change the complexity of the race? I'm beat 3 lengths. I'm 5 off at the quarter instead of being in the 2-hole. You do the math. I just couldn't get in there. Couldn't do it. Not that I didn't want to. I wanted to. There just wasn't the room. So beaten 5th with a filly we thought should have won. Even at the half, thought she's a winner. And she was tired. The horse hung on to beat her that was on the front end. You just sucked the life out of a lanky filly. Get them over the half in 58 and put me in a favorable position next week. Then you'll see what kind of filly she is. It's just circumstances. Voyage of Ice and Fire race great, and I'll be the first to admit the stupidest drive I've made in quite a while was Spirit of Dio. I warmed her up, and keep in mind, I'll set the scene for you. I have the utmost confidence in Spirit of Dio. I think she is as good as any horse you put her on the track with right now. She's been rough. She made a break at the Meadow. She hasn't been trotting good. We changed her shoes, did a little work on her. I warmed her up, and I said to Jason, this filly will win in 52 tonight. That was my mindset going into the race. I know the horse trotted in 52 on the front, but I raced against Joey with White Tiger and Oso Pine at the Meadows. Nice trotter, and probably just coming into his own now, I suppose. I just didn't have enough respect for that field. I thought I'd come first over and just bury them down the backstretch. Now we did put pads on her. Was she slipping a bit? She just not ready? Was something else up? Got to draw her blood? Did she bleed a little bit? I don't know. Maybe she just got beat fair and square. I just didn't see that coming. And I was the one with egg on my face looking back at the video. I stayed in with Path of Totality. What's the race look like if I stay in with Spirit of Dio? Maybe she runs. Maybe she wins. But she did not win first over. And that was one of those moves where your neck's on the line. If it doesn't work out, you're an idiot. And if it works out, people say, yeah, the filly was great. But that's being a driver, right? I had to lick my wounds last night and go home. Yeah, I was down in the dumps. I could tell you that Voyage of Ice and Fire did everything possible he could do. Of Tom got beat fair and square. Ty went on, got beat fair and square. We had the potential to have a lot of winners and ended up with one now. Obviously, the Big Colt in Indiana raced great. We had some terrible news out of Indiana. Spent, done for the season. He's going to be up for sale. Ended up injuring his left hind leg. That was frustrating to hear. So this is all going on at the same time. So I know you guys, you see what I do and you say, geez, you do a lot. But I put a lot of pressure on myself too. Same as I do for the horses. I literally slept all day and went to drive Simba. Maybe that was a detriment to Simba. I don't know. But the last thing I want to do was be laying there with a headache and watch Stonebridge Simba make a break from the rail. It's not going to happen. So, when it comes to the pressure I put on myself, it's immense. You look at how the day was forming just here in the States. Rose above it. Thought he was a winner. Thought we would win a Pennsylvania Sire Stakes, so Ty went on. White Tiger, who knows? Hopefully the good White Tiger showed up. He did. A little side note, Angie Coleman's no longer in Illinois. I just found that out. So that Illinois connection may be eroded somewhat. We'll talk about that another day. White Tiger was third. Hunter thought that he raced really well. Then we go to Ohio, brimming with confidence, but a lot of jitters, right? Any driver with skin in the game, any driver that's a co-owner or has anything to do with horses that said, in the post-parade you don't have little jitters, either is rich or doesn't care. Or is a liar. One or the other. But those butterflies go away immediately when the gate opens up and you start to assess the race. Coming out of the gate, looking around, right? I'm getting away 5th. Fine, what do I do now that I'm 5th? Horse on the front end, I don't have a ton of respect for, but did trot a big last half last week. Beware. 2 horse looks legit. 5 and 6 are ho-hum. You know, are they going to be stuck in my way? What am I going to do with this? I'm going to have to move her. And then everything changes like that. Breaker, 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 breaker. Now I'm stuck in a bad place, but she didn't run. Watch her in the first turn. Had to run up on top of the guy, the 5, before he get out of the way. Didn't run. Stayed to her task, stayed to her business. She raced as good as she could. But that was the pivotal moment of the race. If the 2 gets off the track record, the 5 moves over a hair. Anthony's in the 2-hole. Half and 56 in the 2-hole. Horse in the 3-hole can't keep up. Horse in the 4-hole can't keep up. I don't have to move her to the head of the lane, and I can almost certainly say she's headed to the winner's circle. But that's how the race changed in the blink of an eye. And there's nothing I can do about it. So, little crappy day, but that's racing. I mean, we made, I don't know, what we made, 25 or 30,000 yesterday racing in the States. It could be worse. Tomorrow we get the Colts. Now, expectations are low for Granite Hill, and out of the 8-hole, poor Leaf drew the 8-hole, poor little bugger. We'll get what we can get. I'm a Lovely Lady picked to win. She's razor sharp right now, razor sharp. Mama Knows Best looks good. Tuesday I'm flying to drive Bomb Hugger, who I have the utmost confidence in. Sometimes that's a problem, but I'm trying to be tempered. But at the same time, she schooled with a bow in her neck the other day. Sometimes I'd rather go into a track 6 or 7 to 1, thinking you need to work out of a trip, instead of going there thinking I'm going to win. Right? That's a tough thing to do sometimes. And then Wednesday we got our fillies, all 4 of our fillies. We made some more adjustments with Isa 10. I'm optimistic. She trained well today. Sweet on Pete trained like a monster on Friday morning. What else do we got? Sweet on Pete. The other filly qualified pretty good. I don't know what class of horse she's in with, like what type of horse she's in with, but 2 minutes for Hill of Magic should put her as a contender at least in the Buckeye. And then who's the other one? Oh, Skippy, track record holder at they did a write-up and said the horse the next day broke the Fillies and Mares track record. The only problem was that's a colt. Track record at where was Marion squarely belongs to 1-2 Skip a Few, and she's coming in sharp too. So we should have a good week out of us. Obviously we're gonna have to pick our pants up. No complaints. Obviously it hurts when you want to go into a race and think you're the winner and get beat, but that's racing. We got money, we got paid, they stayed trotting, and the year will go on. Good luck tonight to our group about to race No Free Lunch. We have Blue Monk racing tonight. What about Grace? I think she's picked to win, going for 102,000. Why did I sell those shares? For those of you that get in, you're welcome. Man, it was a bad business decision on my part, but good for us overall, and things are looking good. So obviously a little somber today after yesterday, but at the same time, I was sick all day. I'm feeling better now. The horse race good tonight. Stonebridge Simba finished 3rd. I thought he should have been 2nd, but 54 is 54, and we will move on. Lots coming up this week, and don't forget, next Friday, the Voyage of Ice and Fires, Of Tom, Purple Laura. They all go at it again. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.